You wake up, and before you even get out of bed, you already feel behind. There's a message you haven't replied to, a task you keep pushing back, a version of your life you keep promising yourself you'll get to, eventually. And somewhere underneath all of it, you know things aren't working. If that sounds familiar, this video is for you. Here's the thing about life feeling out of control: it rarely happens all at once. It's not one big explosion. It's more like a slow leak. One skipped gym session turns into 3 months off. One late reply becomes an inbox you're afraid to open. One stressful week bleeds into a stressful month. And at some point you look up and realize you've been just surviving. And the worst part? On the outside, everything might look fine. You're still showing up, still functioning. But internally, you feel like you're carrying something heavy all the time. That feeling has a name. Researchers call it low-level chronic stress. But most people just call it feeling stuck. And the reason it's so hard to fix is that it doesn't have one cause. It's the combination of too many small things going wrong at the same time. A messy environment, a broken sleep pattern, a phone that never stops demanding your attention, relationships that drain you, goals you've stopped believing in. Any one of those things on its own is manageable. All of them together? That's when life starts to feel like it's running you instead of the other way around. So why does this actually happen? Why do smart, capable people end up feeling like they've lost grip on their own lives? There are 3 main reasons, and understanding them changes how you approach the reset. The first reason is decision fatigue. Every single day, your brain makes thousands of small decisions. What to eat, what to reply to, what to work on, what to ignore. And research from Columbia University found that humans make roughly 35,000 decisions per day. By evening, your brain is essentially running on empty. And when your decision-making capacity is exhausted, you default to whatever's easiest. Scrolling, junk food, avoidance. Not because you're lazy, but because your brain literally has fewer resources left to make better choices. The second reason is system collapse. When life works well, it's usually because you have invisible systems holding it together. A sleep schedule, a morning routine, a way of organizing your responsibilities. But when one of those systems breaks, say, your sleep gets disrupted, it doesn't stay isolated. Bad sleep leads to lower energy. Lower energy leads to skipping exercise. Skipping exercise leads to worse mood. Worse mood leads to worse decisions. It cascades. This is what people mean when they say everything falls apart at once. It's not random. It's a domino effect. The third reason is identity drift. Over time, if you're not intentional about it, you slowly start living the life that happened to you instead of the life you actually chose. You took the job because it was available. You kept the habit because you didn't change it. You stayed in the pattern because the alternative felt uncomfortable. And at some point, you look in the mirror and feel a quiet disconnect. Like the person looking back is familiar, but not quite who you meant to become. That's identity drift. And it's the deepest, most important reason people feel out of control. If this sounds like you, here's a 4-part system that you can start today. The mental reset comes first, because you cannot organize a life from inside a cluttered mind. Before you build anything new, you have to get honest about what's actually going on. Step 1, the brain dump. Get a piece of paper, actual paper, not a notes app, and write down everything that's sitting in your head. Every worry, every incomplete task, everything you said you'd do, every obligation, every resentment, every vague anxiety you've been carrying around. Don't sort it. Don't prioritize it. Just get it out. Research on what's called cognitive offloading shows that getting thoughts out of your head and onto paper immediately reduces the mental load your brain has to carry. It's not just journaling for its own sake, it physically frees up cognitive bandwidth. Step 2, separate what you can control from what you can't. Once it's on paper, draw a line down the middle. Left side, things you can actually do something about. Right side, things that are outside your control. Most people are exhausted because they're spending mental energy on things they cannot change. This step alone cuts the load in half. Step 3, identify the one thing making everything else harder. Look at your left column, the things you can control. There is almost always one item on that list, that, if resolved, would make everything else feel more manageable. It might be a conversation you've been avoiding, a financial decision you've been delaying, a commitment that no longer fits your life. Name it. You don't have to fix it today. But naming it means it stops living in the background as a vague, draining anxiety and becomes a concrete problem you can actually solve. That shift from "something feels wrong" to "I know what needs to change" is the whole point of the mental reset. Number 2. Environmental reset. Your environment is not neutral. It is either working for you or against you. The space you're in every day sends signals to your brain. A messy room signals things are unfinished. You're behind. A clear desk signals you're ready. This is a place where things get done. You don't consciously process this, but your nervous system does. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, puts it simply: environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. And when your environment is chaotic, your behavior tends to follow. So here's the environment reset in 3 moves. Move 1. One space, one day. Don't try to clean your entire life in an afternoon. Pick one space: your desk, your bedroom, your kitchen counter. That's your target today. Clear it completely. Every object either belongs somewhere specific, gets thrown out, or goes into a deal with later box. One space, transformed. That's enough to start. Move 2. Design for your future self. The reset isn't just about cleaning, it's about intentional design. Put your gym bag by the door if you want to exercise. Put your book on your pillow if you want to read at night. Put a glass of water on your desk if you want to drink more water. Environmental cues make good choices the path of least resistance. Move 3. Reduce friction, reduce chaos. Look at your space and ask, what makes things harder than they need to be? Keys you're always losing. A charger that lives in the wrong room. Clothes that end up on the floor because there's no hook nearby. Fix these tiny friction points. Each one you solve removes a small daily drain, and those small drains add up. A clear space doesn't fix your life, but it changes how your life feels. And right now, that matters. Number 3. Routine reset. Most people think of a routine as a rigid schedule. Wake up at 5, cold shower, journal, meditate, then conquer the world by 7 a.m. That's not a routine. That's a performance. And performances don't last. A real routine is something different. It's the minimum viable structure that keeps you functional, even on bad days. Here's how to build one in 3 layers. Layer 1. Anchor habits. These are the 2 or 3 non-negotiable things you do every day that keep you grounded. They don't have to be impressive. Maybe it's making your bed, going for a 10-minute walk, drinking water before coffee, writing 3 things you want to get done today. Small and consistent beats ambitious and abandoned every time. Layer 2. Time blocking, not scheduling. Don't try to plan every hour of your day. That's a map to failure. Instead, block categories of time. Morning is for the work that matters most. Afternoon is for communication and collaboration. Evening is for wind down. This gives your day a shape, without requiring military precision. Layer 3. A shutdown ritual. This one is underrated. At the end of each working day, even if you're not a 9-to-5 person, you do a brief close down. Look at what you finished. Note what carries over to tomorrow. Close your tabs. Write one sentence about how the day went. Then you're done. This isn't just productivity hygiene. It trains your brain to actually stop working when the day ends. And people who feel always on, who lie awake thinking about tasks, who can never really relax, usually don't have a shutdown ritual. The goal here is not perfection. It's consistency at a low enough level that you can maintain it when life is hard. Number 4. Digital reset. This is the section most people resist the most. And it's the one that matters most. Your phone is not just a device. It's the primary environment in which most of your mental life now takes place. The apps on it are designed by some of the most sophisticated engineering teams in the world, specifically to keep you on them as long as possible. You are not undisciplined for getting sucked in. You're just up against a billion-dollar industry whose entire business model is your attention. Here's what a digital reset actually looks like, and it's not delete all social media. Step 1. Audit your screen time honestly. Open your phone's screen time settings right now. Look at the total. Look at which apps are taking the most hours. Most people are genuinely shocked. This is data, not shame data. You can't change something you haven't looked at. Step 2. Remove what you haven't chosen. You have apps on your phone you didn't consciously decide to keep. They're just there. You open them automatically, without intention, whenever you're bored or uncomfortable. Delete them. If you want them back in a week, you can download them. But the friction of downloading stops the unconscious opening. That friction alone shifts behavior. Step 3. Create phone-free zones. Not hours zones. The bedroom is phone-free. The dinner table is phone-free. The first 30 minutes of your morning is phone-free. You don't need to eliminate screens from your life. You need to create spaces in your day where your brain is not being managed by an algorithm. Step 4. Replace, don't just remove. If you take away the scrolling habit without replacing it, the urge doesn't disappear. It just finds another outlet. Before bed, the phone goes on charge outside the bedroom, and a physical book or notebook goes beside your bed instead. In the morning, instead of reaching for the phone, there's a glass of water and one thing you want to focus on today. Designing the replacement is what makes the removal stick. Here's something nobody tells you about getting your life back together. The hardest part isn't the reset. It's the days after. Because after a reset, there's a brief window of clarity. The desk is clean. The phone is quieter. You feel lighter. And in that window, most people try to do too much, too fast. They build an ambitious schedule and burn out again within 2 weeks. Momentum doesn't come from going fast. It comes from going consistently. And confidence doesn't come from big wins. It comes from a series of small promises you make to yourself and keep. Here's what that looks like in practice. Make the bar embarrassingly low. Seriously. If you want to start exercising, your goal for week 1 is not to work out 5 days. It's to put on your gym shoes. That's it. Because the person who puts their gym shoes on every morning is, in 4 weeks, the person who works out. Start so small that failure becomes nearly impossible. Track proof, not progress. Most people track whether they're making progress toward a goal. A better thing to track is just whether you showed up. A simple check on a calendar. Not metrics, just presence. The psychological reward of seeing a chain of checkmarks builds more motivation than most goal tracking systems. Protect the streak, but know when to restart. You will miss a day. Accept that now. The rule isn't never miss. The rule is never miss twice. 1 missed day is a pause. 2 missed days is the start of a new pattern. One you don't want. Acknowledge what's working. This sounds soft. It isn't. Your brain is heavily biased toward noticing what's wrong. At the end of each week, spend 5 minutes writing down what went better than it did last week. Not perfect. Better. This reprograms where your attention goes, and over time, it changes what you see as possible. If something in this video landed for you, I'd genuinely appreciate it if you hit the like button. It helps this channel reach people who need to hear this, and it takes 2 seconds. And if you want to go deeper, subscribe to Goal Getters Guild. There's a new video every week. I'll see you in the next one.